Hello everyone and welcome to a Sci-Friday. My name is Brandon. Sadly, I'm going to have to tell you this is our last Sci-Friday. Steve and I are actually going to Arizona for our new jobs at the Challenger Space Center. And so Steve brought us some balloons to celebrate our last Sci-Friday, which is really good because I forgot to bring an experiment. And so he tells me these are special balloons that we're going to do some experiments with. So Steve, can you tell me about these balloons? Thank you, Steve. That didn't help me at all. So we're going to have to figure out what's in these balloons now on our own because Steve wasn't the most helpful. Alright, so let's go ahead and get started with this green balloon here. You're going to cut it off here. I'm going to tape it to the table because I don't know what's in this balloon. So to do it right, I'm going to have to be real careful with these balloons because they could be dangerous for all I know. Alright, let's go ahead and light this one up, Steve. Here we go. Alright, so our first test with this green balloon, we'll see what's in it. Alright, so we just tested our green balloon, and when we tested it, it was floating up into the air, so we know it couldn't have been filled with just normal air. So we have to figure out what kind of gas it was then. And the only kind of gas that we know of that can float like that, that doesn't react with the fire, is helium. And so helium doesn't react with fire because it's a noble gas. And noble gases are a special kind of element that just don't react with anything, whether it be another element or fire. They just don't do anything. And so that had to have been helium. So our first balloon we know was filled with helium. Now we're going to move on to our second balloon and see if it's a helium balloon also like the green one or if it's something different. And so we're going to go ahead and use this orange one next. Alright, so we are ready to test our orange balloon. Now, just like our green one, it is floating up in the air, so we know it's not just air. And so now we're going to use our flame test to see if it's helium as well. Well, that is not helium. Helium does not explode like that when it's introduced to a flame. So, we know that this one had to be hydrogen. Hydrogen reacts to flame and it makes a big boom. And so, unlike helium, hydrogen does react. So we know that this one had to be filled with hydrogen gas. Alright, so we only have one balloon left to test. Now, Steve, can you tell us anything about this last balloon? Give us a hint. Alright, so this is two things mixed together according to Steve. So let's go ahead and test this one and see if we can figure out what two things are mixed together. Alright, so we have our final red balloon, which we know from Steve is a mix of two gases. So we're going to have to see what it does with a flame. So what we know right now is that it's floating, so it has to be hydrogen or helium and maybe another gas. We don't know what he mixed it with. So let's go ahead and move on to our flame test. That was a lot bigger boom. Had to have been hydrogen because of the boom in the first place. So we know hydrogen is one of the gases. Now, what could make hydrogen explode bigger? When we have a fire, there are a couple things that can make the fire bigger. And one of those important things that can make a fire bigger is oxygen. And so you can see here on this triangle, there are three things you need to make a fire: fuel, oxygen, and heat. Now the heat didn't change, the fuel didn't change, it was still hydrogen inside, but what changed was the amount of oxygen. We can change that. And so I'm gonna have to guess that, Steve, in that last one, we had hydrogen and air mixed together to make the bigger boom. That's correct, we did it. So that is what was in our balloons. And I want to thank you guys for watching all our Sci-Fridays in this past year, and we hope to see you in some of our next series, and goodbye. Well, Steve, that's it. We're done. We went out with a bang like we wanted to. I guess it's time we get going. We gotta think about more experiments that we can try in the future, maybe. You know, we've tried elephant toothpaste and all these other experiments. We can come up with some new stuff. There's not oxygen right next to the fire. First was the ethyl alcohol on the bottom. My hand did not get hurt because it's totally absorbed water. It has 250,000 volts running through it. To turn this red in one time, I have to turn this one 10 times. Please let us know. Have a good day. Time to wait for you, Steve. I need to get to my tablecloth.
This is really, really fun for us to do. This was the best elephant toothpaste reaction we've ever gotten, so I'm glad it's on film now.
Yeah, it was really good. Thanks for coming in, and we hope to see you next time.
See you next time.